All right. College football. What a weekend it was. What a weekend it was. A lot of things happened. I'll say this much. I think that the college football playoff committee has a very easy job in front of them. Their life has been made really, really easy. And I am thankful for that. Why? Because I don't want anybody to sit there and complain about, oh, my team didn't get in and we're supposed to get in. Blah, 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 blah. This is why we need expansion. Whiners. Anyway, Michigan with a big upset win over Ohio State. Knock on Ryan Day, by the way. If you guys paid attention to that game, um, Ryan Day made no adjustments and his team got beat because of it. That's really what that game boiled down to. I still think Ohio State's probably the better team. They weren't on that Saturday because their coach made a decision that they were going to stack nine in the box and literally play no safety, none. Not a single high safety, not a single guy back there. Jim Harbaugh recognized it and said, if we just run somebody down the middle of the field, they're going to be open. And he was right. And it's why they ended up scoring four touchdowns of like 60 yards or longer. Because guess what? There was nobody back there. Nobody, period. And Ryan Day never made the adjustment. And his team got beat for it. So Michigan wins, TCU destroys Iowa State, USC hangs on to beat Notre Dame. Obviously, Georgia takes care of Georgia Tech. So Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and USC are the top four in the AP poll. Tomorrow we'll get the second to last installment of the college football playoff rankings. I assume that's what it's going to be. Ohio State falls to 5, Alabama 6. I assume those top 6 are going to hold in the college football playoff rankings. 100%, I assume that they will. And what the college football playoff committee, when they do that, is telling you two things. One, if either TCU or USC slips up, Ohio State is a beneficiary. If both TCU and USC slip up, Alabama and Ohio State are the beneficiaries of it because that'll knock TCU and USC out, and you'll have room to get Alabama and USC in. Alabama and Ohio State in, rather. And oh, by the way, guys, I tried to tell you last week that Alabama had a path to the playoffs, and they do. And it's funny how people, especially SEC fans around here, you guys crack me up sometimes. I said Alabama had a path to the playoffs, and everybody, no, yeah, especially Georgia fans. No, they don't. No, they don't belong here. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve to be here. No, 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 no. Those are the same people screaming, yeah, college football playoff expansion. I don't get it. If you don't want Alabama in the playoffs, then don't expand. That's the easiest way to keep them out, period. But they're going to get in regardless. And guess what? There's going to be a whole bunch of two-loss teams, maybe even a three-loss team that would get in with college football playoff expansion. So if you didn't like Alabama in the playoff every year, why are you voting for expansion? That's the way you get Alabama out of the playoff every year, or every so often, is to not expand. You guys crack me up. I mean, you make no sense, but you crack me up, literally. So Alabama will get in if TCU and USC slip up. That's what they need. And if that's the case, I'll do you one even better. If TCU and USC slip up, the committee will absolutely put Alabama above Ohio State. Why? Because they don't want the Michigan Ohio State rematch in the semifinal. They'd rather see Alabama play Michigan and Georgia play Ohio State, and then hope that you don't get Michigan Ohio State again for the national championship. But Michigan Ohio State for national championship would be insane. Be absolutely insane. Be one of the most watched college games in the history of the entire sport. So there's that. But that's my guess. And don't be surprised too if for whatever reason the committee won't put Alabama ahead of Ohio State yet because of the one loss that Ohio State has and Alabama has two. But I can guarantee you they won't line up Michigan and Ohio State again in the semifinal. They'll do it in the final. And you'll have to ask yourself, well, why did Alabama jump Ohio State and they didn't neither one of them play the game? Because the committee wants better television stuff and they know it. And that's okay. That's okay. Um, besides, I don't think Georgia wants to play Ohio State in the uh, in the semifinal either. But you know, that's another team. I still think that the Ohio State team could knock off Georgia. They would play a completely different defense, a completely different everything. You can't take that game against Michigan. You can't do that transitive property thing. Oh, well, Michigan kicked the snot out of Ohio State last year. We kicked the snot out of Michigan. Therefore, we would kick the snot out of Michigan. No, it doesn't work like that, guys, at all. Especially since it's a different year. It doesn't work in the same year. It's not going to work in a year where the two teams are different. So, I mean, whatever. But it was an interesting weekend in college football. Look, I still hope that TCU and USC hold on. Um, Georgia USC in the semifinal is going to be very interesting if it holds. I want to remind Georgia fans that the first time Georgia made the college football playoff, the Rose Bowl game, was it 2017? Yeah, I think it was. Uh, Lincoln Riley's offense put up 51 on Georgia. Was 56-51 the final, whatever it was, somewhere in that range. Anyway, Lincoln Riley can absolutely devise a game plan to score on Georgia's defense. Will they? Who knows? But that's one team I would be scared of. Now Georgia's going to be able to score at will on USC's defense as well. That part gets easy. Um, and obviously Georgia, I think, makes a lot more stops, but uh, it'll be an interesting contest. I wouldn't exactly rule out USC as a cupcake and say, oh yeah, Georgia's going to smoke them. Nah, I don't know. I don't think that we see that matchup come to fruition. But as you guys know, I don't know anything. There is that. All right, we're going to get to shovels of wisdom here, and nobody saw this coming for the state of Georgia. We'll get to that coming up in just a minute. First, a word from our friends at Locked On Sports Today. Guys, I tell you about the Locked On Sports Today podcast because it's awesome. And you know what else is awesome? Our Locked On Falcons podcast with Aaron Freeman. Obviously, you want a bigger, in-depth breakdown of everything that went on yesterday. Aaron's the guy to go to. You make Locked On Falcons your first listen. But for your next listen, you check out Locked On Sports Today podcast. Biggest stories of the day, instant reactions, big game recaps, plus the take of the day. It's available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts.